Hey, welcome to Soundings with SASH. And I know it said Monday nights at 6:30, but it's actually Sunday night tonight at 6:30. I am talking about relationships. I'm going to have a three-part series, actually. This is the first one. I did have some guests that were going to come on, and they couldn't make it. So I did put in the chat a link if you would like to join me on video to talk about relationships. If you don't, that's fine, but let's have a chat. So put in your comments. How about the first question about relationships? What is your number one tip to anybody about a healthy relationship? And I don't just mean a love relationship, I mean any relationship. So what is your number one tip to anyone from your perspective on what a healthy relationship looks like? So for me, my number one tip is communication. Communication is key to any healthy relationship. And that doesn't mean texting, messaging. When I say communication really does need to either happen on a telephone call, even if you can FaceTime it or have a face-to-face conversation. That is going to be your number one thing on how to communicate effectively, because you're going to see the other person's body language. You're going to be able to listen to what they have to say and not talk over them. In a text kind of situation, things can get really messed up, right? So, oh, hi, Debbie. Thanks for joining. Yes, trust and honesty. Trust and honesty, I would say, is absolutely at least number two. So communication and trust and honesty. I agree with you, Debbie. Trust and honesty. I mean, if you don't trust the other person, I'm not sure how you're going to have that healthy relationship with them if you don't trust them. I mean, I guess you can put your boundaries up, but that doesn't mean, that you're going to have that healthy relationship with them. And right, Grace. And hi, Grace. Thanks for joining me. Grace, if you want to hop on with me, I'd love to have you on. You too, Debbie. If either of you want to click the link here and come on video, I would love for you to do that. So Grace, listen to the other person and make it about them first. If they are worthy of your time, they will reciprocate. Right. I agree with that. Listening, trust and honesty, and communication. Wow, we're already building this thing. You guys are already answering the things I was going to talk about, and that is so awesome. So really, trust and honesty, but there has to be a basis of the relationship. All relationships are different, and how we communicate and who we let in our inner circle, so to speak. So, I mean, having that truth of the inner circle and who is allowed to be in it and who isn't, right? Let's see. There you go. Suzanne. Hi, Suzanne. And again, links there. If any of you guys want to jump on, I would love to have you. I'll just let you on. So Suzanne, yeah, thinking another person can complete you. No. I had a friend of mine, he agrees with that, that thinking another can completely complete you. That doesn't work like that. It has to be two wholes. Two whole people have to come together in that love type of relationship. And you have to be healthy in yourself. And if you're not healthy in yourself, and you're both unhealthy, that's kind of a mess sometimes. Experience is saying that. So let's see. Oh, you're on your way to a function. Okay, that's okay. But thanks for thinking of it. And Grace, I would like to have you on, most definitely. Suzanne, I would love to have you on again as well. I miss you, girl. So yes. So what are the other things in relationships? Because our relationships are not always based on love. I wish that they were, and we can look at other people in a loving relationship, and it be based there. It has to be building blocks, right? I mean, I think the only kind of love type of relationship that is just already there is probably the parent-child, right? Like like our parents, and maybe that's a basis of your love relationships. And if that is unhealthy to start, then I would have to say that relationships with other people, even after that parent child, might be out of balance at that point. Let's see. Oh, okay, Suzanne. Thank you. We will plan on another show. And like I said, I did have two other people that were going to come on tonight, but both had other things going on. So anyway, if anybody would like to join, I have in the comments the link for you to just pop on, and I would love to have you on. Don't have to worry about hair and makeup. I didn't do my hair and makeup today either. And I would love a male perspective as well. Expectations. Yes. If we have expectations of another person and they don't know about it, they don't know about it. They can't meet something that they don't know. So that whole going back to communication on what expectations are between you and that other person and whatever relationship that is, whether that be parent, child, siblings, friends, I don't want to just only talk about a love relationship. We want to talk about all relationships and, parents, with your children. Like, I'm having to navigate a new relationship setup with my adult children. And that has become kind of something that I didn't ever really think about, because I'm thinking, parent, child, well, as you evolve, as they evolve, your communication style changes, your relationship changes, even with your children, even with your parents. So same thing, you have to balance out, and you have to be flexible. Being flexible with all of these relationships is key. Not only is communication, but being flexible and trying to really, like Grace said, listening to the other person, really gaining that trust and honesty factor, and also another thing is not bringing your past relationship, like you can have a different relationship with the same person over the, as they evolve and you evolve, that relationship evolves. So don't expect, don't put them in that box of the past. Say they were, when they were growing up, they're a teenager or a young adult and they made a lot of bad decisions, and they weren't very trustworthy. They weren't very honest. I believe that people can change. I don't know if you guys believe that. Tell me what you think in the comments. And yes, Vincent, everything changes. But do you think people's innate personality and things, their integrity and things, do you think they can change? Question. Do you? Because that will gauge on how you look at other people. If you don't think people can change, because guess what? We change all the time, right? I mean, don't you say to yourself, yeah, I made those mistakes. I'm not going to make those again. I'm going to be better, for myself. So I wonder why people don't do that for other people, why they think that other person can't change as well. That's a good question. I'd like your comments on that. Do you think that people can change? Well, I think that they can, because I think I can. How about you? So that affects how you're going to relate to that other person if that person's been in your life for a long time. So, all right. So I also have some other tips about relationships. Not assuming when you're in a relationship, not assuming. I think we can come into a relationship with a bias, because of past relationships or because of past interactions that were not healthy. So again, going back to that communication place of really trying to listen and understand where the other person's coming from. So I think that's the crux of having a healthy relationship. What do you think? Put it in the comments. I'd like to know. So Vincent was the last one. He said everything changes. So how do you have a healthy relationship? What do you think a healthy relationship looks like? Have you ever even thought about, have you ever had a bad relationship with somebody and thought, how am I going to change that? How am I going to get through to that person? Or, where does it start? So yes, Debbie, everyone deserves the respect of changing. They do. They do. Now there are some damaged relationships, I think, sometimes that can't happen, and that's up to us to put those healthy boundaries on it, and really knowing yourself. Again, you kind of have to know where yourself is coming from, your own relationship with you. If you don't know who you are and what you're doing and where you're going, et cetera, how are you going to have a healthy relationship with others? That it comes back to kind of that healthy relationship with yourself. So what do you think about that? How are you evolving? How are you helping yourself to change or to learn or to show love or show forgiveness or show flexibility? What are you doing with you? Do you show yourself a healthy relationship? Do you communicate everything you feel at the time, or do you suppress it, oppress it? Are you, are you impulsive? Those types of things. So I'm just asking all of these questions just to get you guys to interact and find out, where you're coming from. What does a healthy relationship look like? So when a relationship turns bad, give yourself PER. Give you, I'm sure you will tell me what that permission, yes, to leave it. Yes, I agree with you, Debbie. There are some unhealthy relationships. If it was based unhealthily and went along unhealthily, and it's dangerous for you to stay in it, it really robs you of joy, robs you of finances, anything like that. Yeah, definitely a relationship like that. You give yourself permission to leave it, and including other relationships, not just a loved one. I know of family situations sometimes where you have to take a break from that family member, or putting the right boundaries up is what is key, and having that healthy relationship. And the boundaries are the big part. So, okay, JMC. Some people, and they think they don't need to change. Some people can change. It takes a long time to change and break some of those damaging habits. It does. It does. But if you're putting in the work to do it, now if they're refusing to change and they don't think they need to, that is hard to communicate to someone who's not listening, who doesn't think they need to change. And that can be a hard conversation. And hold on. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you, JMC. So, and it takes a long time to change and break some of those damaging habits. It does. It does. And my video is going low. So I'm going to put on a commercial break. Hold on. That's hilarious. Well, okay. And we are back. Are you guys still out there is the question. That was funny. That was actually quite funny. So, are you still there? Tell me if you're still here, because it says I'm still in the broadcast. So, that was funny. So, my phone went dead. Or not phone, but my computer decided to blank out on me. So, healthy communication is one. Trust and honesty, Debbie was talking about. Let's go through this. So, trust and honesty, thinking the other person can complete you, listening, those are all great things. Expectations, everything changes. You can change. You have to be willing to change. If you want something changed, you have to be willing to change. And then JMC, they refuse to change. They don't think they need to. It does take a long time. And it does. It does. If it took you a long time to get to this place with yourself that was unhealthy, it's going to take you a while to correct those things, right? So are you guys still with me? Because, I see it like there's 6 people on. And sorry, I had a broadcast interruption. But so let's go back to communication. Do you guys agree? Put a 1 if you agree that communication should be kind of number 1 in a healthy relationship with anyone. Not talking about just a love relationship, talking about relationships with your siblings, parents, friends, anyone, really. So I have this 9 relationship tips. So don't assume. When somebody else is speaking, do you ever have that inner dialogue where you think you know what they're saying because that's how you are thinking? That is not always the truth. Sometimes that's why you need to really pay attention and to listening and really listening. And if you don't understand what they're saying, it's important for you to ask questions and really ask them to clarify. Asking someone to clarify what they were saying is very respectful. Say, I want to understand. If you're going to say to them, I really want to understand what you're saying. I really want to understand where you're coming from. Because we all have these different paradigms that we come from, these different perceptions. We grew up in different ways. We've had different relationships with others. It's really, really important for us to ask that really important question, like, I don't understand where you're coming from. Can you clarify? Those are some really respectful and important words to say. So let's see. Had someone really said that they heard me when I communicated. Yes. That is nice, isn't it? When you say something feeling wise and they reciprocate with that. That is really good. That means that person had heard that works and had seen the fruits of that working, right? So also some other tips: don't yell. Yelling, if somebody's yelling, where is that coming from? And what is your first response in a relationship when somebody yells at you? You're going to shut down. Most people, they either shut down, but depending on what it's about, it might be yell back, right? Their response will be to yell back or shut down. So yelling, I don't think, is ever a good way to communicate in a relationship, because I'm the type of person that you start yelling at me, done. I'm done. I'm not gonna stand there and have to listen to the yelling. I'll either communicate that and say, I don't, okay, let's not have this conversation now, or I'm just gonna shut down and leave the situation. So how do you guys deal with that when somebody yells at you? What do you guys think when that happens? of course, I always go back to the thing, hurt people hurt people. So it's obvious the yelling and the anger is coming from something somewhere, and it could be something that you did. I mean, it could happen. I mean, it could be something that you did that angered them, but do you allow that in your relationship? I mean, how do you put boundaries on that in your relationship? It's really important to do that. Yes, Suzanne, emotional regulation is important. I like that. That we might leave this for now and come back when we are rested. Exactly. I go with that halt. That's really good. Wow, that's a mature, sounded like a mature person on the other end of that relationship. Saying things like, does this make sense? Or did I explain that right? That's right. Yes. I use that one a lot. The does that make sense thing. Only because sometimes I think you understand what I'm saying, but maybe you totally don't, right? Like, we don't know the other person's level of perception of where we're coming from. They're not us. Their paradigm is different. So it is important, for us to see that. And thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it. Let them finish talking. Oh boy, that's a big one. Talking over others while they're speaking, to me, for some odd reason, and I'm going to talk about my own experience in it, it doesn't really bother me because I think I've been conditioned. Like, when you've been conditioned to something, I mean, that's a boundary for other people. People will stop and shut down the conversation. Me, for whatever reason, I don't notice it. Does that make sense? So that's hard for me to understand that I need to put a boundary on that. When somebody does that to me the first time, I should probably say, listen, please don't speak while I'm speaking. I'm trying to tell you something. But maybe for me personally, in the past have not had that great way to communicate that. So anyway, what do you guys think about that one? Don't disrespect each other. I think that one's really important. Not disrespecting each other. And also, apologize when you're wrong. That's going to help you with a healthy relationship with anyone. I would rather apologize first. I would rather that than, if we're having a miscommunication in our relationship, I would rather be the first one to say, I'm sorry, so that we can maybe discuss it later, because, it doesn't take much you don't have to be right all the time. So even when you in your head maybe think you're right, you don't have to be right all the time. Being right, agree to disagree, right, Suzanne? Did I put that up there? Yes, I think I did. So anyway, I appreciate you guys and your feedback on relationships, since my two other co-hosts couldn't make it tonight, but I am having 2 next Sunday and 1 next Monday. So I have 3 more guests coming up talking about relationships. So liking to hear the male perspective as well. And Suzanne, I really appreciate your feedback here. So, but being honest is the big one. Being honest in a relationship is I think, besides communication, absolutely, like Debbie had said, truth and honesty. Communication, truth and honesty, listening, and agreeing to disagree. We don't always have to be right in our relationships, except for to try to bridge the gap and make them, more peaceful. What do you think? So I'm not going to stay on, since I'm by myself. I have the short one, like 30 minutes, because I can't talk for an hour. Though some of you know me, I probably can talk for an hour, but I'm not going to talk more about relationships tonight. So, one, let's communicate well. Let's communicate better with each other. For a healthy relationship, having great communication. Number two, trust and honesty. I'm just going to go down the line because I agree with the actual order and how the comments came in. And three, listening, not talking over the other person, trying to understand where they're coming from their perspective. Sometimes we're wrong. Sometimes we are not understanding where they're at. Meeting the other person where they're at, not where you're at, is what I always say. So, and just being respectful to one another. So, anyway, that's the beginning of my relationship series, and I appreciate you all joining me tonight. And I hope to see you next week. We're going to be on an hour earlier, which is 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, 4:30 Central Standard Time, and I don't know what time in another part of the country or world at this point. So I hope you join me next Sunday. I'm going to have two wonderful guests on then, and then I'll have one wonderful guest on next Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5:30 Central Standard Time. So you guys take care. I look happy and sun-kissed. Oh, I love it, Suzanne. Come and visit me at some point. Well, when I get to Florida. So I'm in a layover. So anyway, thank you. I appreciate that, Suzanne. Thank you, JMC. Thank you, Debbie and Grace. And I appreciate your feedback. And have a wonderful, beautiful evening. Peace out. My stuff is not working tonight, and it's okay. It's my first one in a while.